solo dolo.
The baby's father? I really didn't see him until after the child was born.
How in the world can you potentially have 5 children with this woman?
I'm trying to sit there and rub on the belly, and I can't even rub on it pridefully.
I'm gonna give you a chance to respond.
Yes, I am a sex addict.
Trust me, you and I both know we never want to be in his shoes. After having so much suspicion, feeling like he was being lied to, having some doubts that he wasn't the dad of their little girl, he dragged his girl's ass to court to find out the truth. Hold on to your seats, folks. We're about to have some real child battle drama.
Mr. Green.
Yes, ma'am.
You claim your rights as a potential father to the child in question today. 2-year-old Angel Bryant were basically stolen from you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now jumping right into the love triangle, or should I say the triangle of heartbreaks. It all started on New Year's night. Sounds romantic, right? I bet your jaws are about to drop soon. Mr. Green met Miss Duncan that sweet evening, and as the gentleman that he is, took her to his house for some coffee. And I would say, have a good time, if you know what I mean.
How did I meet her? Well, it was New Year's night. She was out, I was out, of course. I saw her staggering a little bit, walking home alone from the club. I took her home, and then we just talked for a little bit, exchanged numbers.
Then shortly thereafter, you guys began dating?
I don't have sex. I'm not a sexually active person. We did not sleep together. This was about 3 months later. So we first had sex around May, just like you say, May.
So you all waited, which is good, got to know one another, and then you had a sexual relationship.
That's correct.
Set, I can't be the only one who thought something fishy was gonna happen, or was I? Well, after getting all mushy with Miss Duncan, he thought he had met the love of his life. The bombshell is about to drop. She had another secret guy who she also happened to be having a good time with. Miss Duncan would for sure win the award for being a sleek lady.
You basically lied and told him you weren't talking to the guy anymore, but you were.
Yes.
And you weren't just talking to him.
No.
You were still having sex with him too.
Yes.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know nothing about a relationship.
So you thought she was single when you met her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Going forward in their love drama, Miss Duncan found out she was pregnant. I sure think that's too quick. Getting pregnant just a few months after she meets Mr. Green? Come on, that's just all shades of suspicious. Of course, Mr. Green got the first call, and the mind-blowing thing is that he wasn't excited about the news. He was trying to add the math, and all his brain could tell him was, how's this possible?
Told him you were pregnant. He says he was shocked. How did that come across to you through the phone? Did you feel like he didn't care, or did he sound happy?
Yes, I felt that he didn't care.
So did you tell the other guy you were pregnant too?
I haven't seen the other guy until after I got out the hospital.
Okay.
Your Honor, I figured that if I'm supposed to be the child's father, I would have been there at the time of birth, and also my name would be on the birth certificate.
As the tales of deceit keep unfolding, the truth starts to come to the surface, and trust me when I tell you, there's so much more. After having her baby, she comes out with a new story 7 months after birth and tells Mr. Green that he might not be the father of the kid. Ouch. That's for sure going to leave a mark on his heart.
During my pregnancy, this other guy, he stepped up and he was with me through my whole pregnancy. So that's a lie,
No,
Your Honor, that's a lie.
I was there, but not there like you want me to be.
I was surprised this didn't turn into punching spray. Mr. Green came home with Miss Duncan and their little girl and met a guy waiting for them in the house. Let the drums roll in. The guy waiting for them was the other guy, who was also having a good time with Miss Duncan. Ding, ding, ding! Now that's wild!
So, Mr. Green, when you say you know who, did you ever meet this other guy?
Not too afterwards.
And what happened when you saw him?
I don't know if it was a birthday or Mother's Day. Okay, I took her home, and he was outside waiting for her, and that kind of hurt. And he said, I come to see my daughter, my daughter. I said, that's your daughter, that's my daughter. And that's like embarrassing, you know. He was already there waiting for her to come home.
If you think that's all the juice in this story, hold on to your seats because I'm about to blow your mind. Another epic heartbreak for Mr. Green. She says she wasn't sure who had the kid, so she played both of them, hoping one of them would come true. Speechless is how I feel right now.
You just said for the first month he was not around, but the other guy was?
The other guy was around all the way through my pregnancy.
Really?
Yes.
Was he at the birth too?
Yes.
So while he was sitting around waiting for the phone to ring,
I called him.
The other guy
didn't answer.
Oh, so hold on now. If the other guy was there, you called him and he didn't answer. Did you already? You gonna have them both
called
there?
him. No.
I guess it's high time we brought this paternity war zone to a close. Will it be all nice, Mr. Green, who gets to go home saying I'm the dad? Or would it be the other guy who was in the shadows having a good time with Miss Duncan? The answer to that question sits like a princess in the envelope. Let the truth be told.
Mr. Ronald Green, you are not her father. Are we certain it is the other gentleman?
It's,
No other possibility.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jones and Miss Dolis have to be the funniest couple on the paternity court show. Their love story bounces from cheating to lying to deceiving. You just name it. From one charade to the next, these two find themselves in court, dragging each other for who is the better parent. Buckle up, people. You're about to be dumbfounded by this couple's drama.
All right, Ms. Douglas, you are suing the father of your 5 children for a paternity test. You claim at times the defendant, Mr. Jones, doesn't treat your daughter, Cheyenne, as his own, and that he has always been suspicious that he's not her biological father. You admit that you kept a secret from him and you cheated on him with his cousin, but say when that secret finally came out, he immediately denied fathering your daughter.
Getting down into the bits of this drama, right from the beginning of the case, Miss Dolis admitted to cheating on Mr. Jones. She apparently slept with his cousin. Now that's all shades of crazy if you ask me. Here's the shocking thing. Mr. Jones was no saint. He was also cheating on her with her own cousin and one of his baby mamas. I would have lost my mind if I were the judge, honestly.
Do you believe the defendant has reason to doubt the paternity of Cheyenne?
Yes, Your Honor, I do, because I did make a mistake. I slept with this cousin, and the condom had broke. But before that, Tyrone was downstairs sleeping with my cousin. He was still having sex with his baby's mom. He was doing him, basically, but yeah, I did.
That was a mouthful.
Just like in the movies, Mr. Jones and Mrs. Douglas met at a party. Things got pretty freaky and interesting after that, and they ended up getting pretty intimate. Well, I saw that coming. Prepare to be wowed! After her cozy night with Mr. Jones, she met his cousin and voila, she went down on him too. How does that even happen?
It got good. I met Tyrone actually at a party that happened downstairs in my building. I met him and his cousin almost the same night. Me and Tyrone got together the first night we watched movies. The next night we did have sex, but we weren't together. We just had sex, and after that he went back to his other baby's mom. And then I met his cousin, and I slept with his cousin, but we weren't together. So yeah, I slept with his cousin, but after that I found out I was pregnant. I called him and I told him I was pregnant.
Things were starting to get heated up in the courtroom, with both of them staring into each other's eyes like it was about to be a bloodbath. Boom! Miss Dolis gets pregnant. Ring, ring, ring. She hits up and tells Mr. Jones that it's his baby. Things seem pretty nice, right? Well, let's burst some bubbles.
I mean, sort of. We actually wasn't in a relationship at the time when she slept with my cousin, but she basically just denied doing it up until the point. That's the reason we here now.
Okay. What did you feel, Mr. Jones, when you heard Ms. Douglas say, "I'm pregnant and it's yours"?
I wasn't too sure about it when she told me, but I'm like, okay, when she did tell me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna step up and do what I gotta do.
She finally decides to open up 2 damn years later, telling Mr. Jones that she had a thing with his cousin. You could see the rage in his eyes, wondering where and how it all went down. Just like that, good baby daddy starts to play the role of, I'm not sure this is my kid. I did tell you things were going to escalate.
Let's go back to the cousin part. Like, when I did sleep with his cousin, I was gonna deny the whole thing, but he actually went in my room and actually smelled the bed and actually said it smelled like his cousin.
His cousin's cologne?
Yes,
I hope.
I was gonna deny it, but I was actually telling the truth. Yeah, his cousin was there and he was just watching TV. So at first I was in denial, but I ended up telling him the truth though. 2 years after my daughter was 2, I ended up telling him the truth.
Slowly, all hell starts to break loose. Miss Dolis spills the beans about Mr. Jones, telling the court how he wasn't there for her daughter and that he was taking care of his other kids with his baby mama. Yep, you had that right. Other kids? It's already a whole mess at this point. Everyone's asking, who's really telling the truth?
When the baby was 2, he went to Chicago with his other's baby mama. We were together then, and I'm pregnant with his son. He went to Chicago. We didn't hear from him for about 4 months. Didn't call, check up on his daughter. Didn't call, check up on the pregnancy or nothing. How I knew he was in Chicago with his baby mama was she texted my phone like, "Oh, you're looking for your man? He's with me. You wonder why he's not calling your daughter? Because he's with me." That's how I knew he was in Chicago.
Were you with another one of your children's mother when you went to Chicago like she's saying?
Yeah.
Emotions are flying here and there. Hold your seats for another bombshell, people. Trust me, your ears aren't ready for this. These couple have had other kids before their daughter, and they aren't even married. Are these two a baby factory, or what's going on with them?
You all 5 children potentially together. Was your relationship ever committed? Was it ever an important thing to either one of you? Are we just making babies? Is it a baby factory? What is it?
After I had my daughter, it's like he was basically playing me. We weren't together, so I'm like, okay, anything you can do, I can do better.
It's clear that these two had no trust for each other. Even after having more than one child together, they can't seem to bring themselves to trust each other. Why would they? I mean, after getting intimate with each other's cousins? That's beyond a far stretch.
Even after child number 2, you think he's cheating?
Yeah. I just had my twins 7 months ago. He's still talking to women. I don't never talk to anybody first. After I find out he cheats on me, that's when I do it. But I really do want to be with him, and I want to make a family for my 5 kids.
Now, Ms. Douglas, you just keep saying, okay, now see, I do not believe in cheating. I do not believe in cheating. But when he does this, then I go do that. Now, at some point, the tit for tat, it just turns into a catastrophe.
Everything went from a peaceful conversation to a bloodbath, with the couples throwing tantrums about who got intimate with whom and who couldn't be a good parent. Well, the moment of truth is finally here. Every single eye is placed on the judge as she's about to reveal the final verdict. Hold your breath!
Mr. Jones, you are not fired.
She knew this from the beginning. Now I'm embarrassed. Gotta face public humiliation.
Who knew that the walls would come crumbling on their 10-year relationship? Well, that hit Miss Brown Ramirez like magic after Mr. Wayne, the sweet dad, started saying he wasn't the father of their 2 kids. Sit tight for the dramatic DNA battle. This one is gonna be crazy, I assure you.
Ms. Brown Ramirez, you are here in court today because you say you're hoping to save your 10-year relationship with the defendant, Mr. Wayne.
Yes, Your Honor.
You state you have 3 children with him, but confess that your 9-month-old daughter may not be his biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wayne, you argue that Ms. Brown Ramirez has lied and deceived you throughout your relationship.
Now let's go down memory lane to when their love was thicker than blood, or so I'd like to think. Soon this love story started to grow dark roots, and when I say dark roots, I mean today you're cheating, tomorrow you're lying, and on and on and on. It all turned into World War II in no time.
Every other day is a constant battle of whether or not I'm cheating, I'm lying, and I'm here because, you know, we have 3 kids, and I'm woman enough to be here and say that there's a possibility that my 9-month-old daughter is not Mr. Wayne's. I did lie to Mr. Wayne, but
man, since
he's
day one
always
you've been
saying
lying
that
about
I'm
everything. You
cheating,
lied
I'm
about
lying.
who you was.
Okay,
lied about
but
how many people.
I
lied about
was
who she
honest about that, Your Honor.
Yeah.
The drama kept revealing the dark roots of their relationship. First, it's no, I didn't cheat, yes, I cheated. Then it goes all the way to the child, maybe yours. Oh, I'm not so certain it's yours. Miss Brown Ramirez sure needs to get her story straight.
Do you think she was cheating on you throughout your relationship?
Yes.
Every day, it
That's
was
right.
constantly, you're a liar, you're a cheater. Every name in the book you can think of, I was it.
So this has been a decade-long on and off relationship. Why'd you stay? Why do you continue to come back?
Exactly.
Because the whole reason me coming back to her while she was pregnant.
Mr. Wayne always had doubts about his woman, but he sure wasn't prepared for the bomb that was about to explode. She admits to cheating on him, saying it was a mistake and she was careful about it, but that's not the juice. She drops another bomb and says she didn't do it just once. Ouch! That's definitely going to sting, trust me.
Well, Your Honor, we were separated in the month that I had conceived, and I was dealing with someone else. Being that I never had a father, I chose to go back to Mr. Wayne because I felt like he always manipulated me into being with him, saying, oh,
No,
you
you
know,
was just trying to take advantage of me, that's it.
you never had your daddy, you want your daughters to grow up to be like you, and I don't understand why, you know, you just want to go out and do this and do that, and, you know, you don't want a father for your children. But in all reality, I do.
Now the walls of trust are completely shattered like they were never built before. Miss Brown Ramirez keeps dropping cracks in Mr. Wayne's heart, like she never loved him at all. Must really stink to be Mr. Wayne right now. As if that's not enough, she finds out that her 9-month-old baby isn't for Mr. Wayne. What does she do? She throws it under the bus, keeping it from him. Boom! I bet you didn't see that coming.
So you knew instantly, when you found out you were pregnant, you knew at that
Yes,
moment.
I did, but I was scared. I didn't know how he would react based on the fact that in the past we had issues, and one day he say, oh, we'll work it out, and then 2 days later it's, oh, I don't want you, you a liar, you a cheater.
Mr. Wayne, with so much hurt and doubt, tells the judge that he doesn't think the baby is his. How does he know that? Now hold up, because this is about to make you laugh. He says the baby's nose doesn't look like his. He then says he is dark-skinned and the baby is light-skinned. Now, is that hilarious? For me, it was almost impossible to comprehend.
So Mr. Wayne, throughout the pregnancy, were you there? Did you attend doctor's appointments? Were you supportive?
Yes, I was, Your Honor. And
You were?
Not even 5 minutes
doubts.
after I had her, he took her out of my arms and just, you know, they had a bond. You know what I mean? It was like they're inseparable at this point in time. And for him to constantly say that, oh, well, if she not mine.
With tears rolling down her eyes like her Prince Charming was about to leave her life, she tells the judge that she believes the child belongs to Mr. Wayne. She believes? A couple of minutes ago, she wasn't sure, so how is it that she now believes? If you ask me, I'd say she's pretty delusional.
If these children aren't yours, even though they look to you as their father, you ready to bounce on these kids, that you're gonna leave.
Right, and what kind of man does that make you?
You cheated, I found out about it. Hey, my baby already here. So I'm like, I'm trying to be in my baby life. So do I skate out, bounce out like a coward, like most people do? Do I bounce out or do I try to strategize and come up with alternatives and stuff like that in order to keep me in these girls' life?
Sit tight! Hold your breath, parenting folks. The answer to all their questions and doubts was sitting pretty with the judge, and the truth was finally ready to be revealed. It's been all shades of drama, and now we're about to find out who the dad really is. Brace yourselves!
Mr. Wayne, it has been determined by this court that you are her father.
Thank you. That's all I wanted.
One wait. That's one wait.
And that's why I'm here. Give you your answers and your proof.
Their love was hanging by a thread. The agitated plaintiff was fed up with the defendant's acts, and trust me, he was in no way ready to shape up. He had reasons to strongly suspect the paternity of the child. Will the DNA results bring out the truth? Grab some popcorn and sit back as we go on another love war.
Miss Sand, you opened your case today in hopes of saving your relationship with the defendant. You say the only reason he is denying your 4-month-old son, Jade, is because he's an insecure man. If the defendant doesn't change his ways after you prove he is the father, then the relationship is over. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hunley, you say the plaintiff is sneaky, a cheat, and cannot be trusted, and you have serious doubt you are her son's biological father. Is that
Yes, Your
correct?
Honor.
It was a love or burst situation between Miss Sand and Mr. Hundley, with both parties fighting almost every damn day. Miss Sand wasn't having it at all. Her face showed she was running out of patience, and if he didn't fix up, she was gonna bolt.
Yes, Your Honor, everything is actually on the line. I'm tired of being accused of cheating. I'm tired of him saying that it's not my son. I'm tired of just everything.
So this is really impacting your relationship.
It is.
What is it like in your home right now?
We fight probably like 3-4 times every week out of the week.
Constant fighting.
Constantly.
That crack in their love sequel started to unveil 1 month after they got together. Hold up, just 1 month? That was pretty fast. Baby mama was a busybody on the phone talking to different men, and that sure didn't sit well with Mr. Hundley. And so the drama begins.
This paternity secret, does it come up in these arguments?
It does, constantly.
Yeah.
This is what we see. This is what paternity secrets do to relationships. Somehow they're woven in every argument, every dysfunction, everything. You could be arguing about who paid the light bill, and the next thing you know that baby ain't mine either. That's what happens.
Well, it all started with a text message, Your Honor. I lied to him about a message that he had seen on my phone. He took a picture of the message in my phone, and he had came downstairs and asked me about it, and I lied to him. I said, no, I was not talking to so-and-so.
Ouch! She drops a shell-breaking message in one of her conversations with her random men. Now hold your breath. I can tell you, you aren't ready for what you're about to hear. And the bomb drops. Boom! She tells the guy she's single and isn't in any relationships. I bet you're itching to see Mr. Hundley's reaction. Trust me, it's priceless.
So the man asked you about your relationship status, and you told him you were single.
Yes.
But you were really in a relationship with Mr. Hundley.
Yes.
We talked about that situation. Like when it happened, we got in our grown man, grown woman, we talked the situation out. But then we got new phones after this. She get a message from the same number.
It was not the same
number.
number.
It was the same number.
It wasn't even the same person.
She say it's not.
It wasn't even the same person.
It was the same number. I had
No,
the screenshots and pulled up the screenshot, same thing. Cause I'm looking at the screenshot and then her phone at the same number.
No, it wasn't even the same person.
So you're saying, Mr. Hundley, you all got new phones.
New phones.
But the same old guy.
Now Mr. Hundley was already fed up. I mean, which normal guy won't be? They go on to change their phones because it's already a situation of, I don't trust you anymore. The same guy she used to text and cheat with hits her up again. Now that's fishy, because how does he have the new number? Something ain't right here.
Okay, so how did he text you? Like, how did you get your number now? You got a new phone. She talking about, I don't know. That's her excuse to me. She don't know how you got it.
Was it the same guy? Was it the same guy, Miss Sand?
No,
Were you
it was
cheating
not, Your
again?
Honor.
It was
No,
the
it
same
was
guy.
not, Your Honor.
So why was it the same number?
It wasn't the same number, Your
Who
Honor.
was it then?
It was somebody that I used to hang out with before Jade and I.
A man?
Yes, ma'am.
How did he get the new phone?
It wasn't a new phone. It was a new phone, but it was not a new number. No, it was not,
We
Jade.
got new phones, we both switched because of the
No,
that
we did
situation.
not.
The pressure is building, and all Mr. Hundley can feel at this moment is pain. The juice of the drama starts to unfold, and he finds out that his woman sneaks out at night to get intimate with the guy she's been texting. Wait, what? Now it's no longer a kinky text here and there. She's sneaking out to meet up with the guy she's texting. Speechlessness is the feeling right now.
Mommy.
I would like to see it.
All right.
You can step over to your exhibit.
All right. So this is New Year's, right? And I want to say we was playing beer pong. We was enjoying ourselves, like having a good time. Like she's telling me she's going to bed. Like, and I'm like, okay, but I'm still playing beer pong, so I'm gonna stay down there for a little minute. So I did that. She went upstairs. I'm thinking she upstairs asleep. So I'm like, all right. So then I go upstairs after I'm done playing. I'm telling everybody I'm going to bed. I go upstairs, going to bed, ain't nobody there. I woke up the next morning and she laying next to me.
The air in the courtroom grew shorter, and the news of the baby came to trump all that. The news wasn't well received by Mr. Handley, and you wouldn't blame him, honestly. There was no atom of trust, and he was not going to be a dad to a kid he wasn't sure of. Brace yourself, because you're about to be shocked again.
So what I want to be clear about is, Mr. Hundley, your position is, I've left a similar bruise in that area when we were intimate. Was she intimate with somebody else that night?
Yes, man.
And I know 100% I didn't sleep with anyone.
He was there for the pregnancy. He was there for child support. He was there for the emotional balance, and Miss Hundley slams him with the "you are not the dad" phrase. Now that's a lot of contradiction. What exactly is going on?
Basically, like, accused me of cheating. He told me he was leaving. Like, I was already depressed from being pregnant. So I already, like, just felt emotional in some type of way about it. And I said something out of anger, yes.
Well, let's draw the curtains on the whole charade. The moment of truth is finally here, and the DNA results are about to reveal who the real dad is. Are you ready? Because I am. Let's find out the truth, shall we?
Mr. Hundley, you are the father.
Yeah, this is the best feeling, man. Man, yeah, that's my little homie, man.
I hope you're ready, because this couple is about to leave you in so much shock. First, he says his woman can't help getting intimate with other guys. Then she says he is a pathological liar. Are you ready? Let the paternity war begin.
Mr. Smith, you are here contesting paternity of your ex-girlfriend's 3-year-old daughter, Janiyah. You claim Ms. Jones is sex crazed and had intercourse with multiple men during the time of conception. And you intend to prove you are not her child's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones, you say Mr. Smith is nothing but a deadbeat who will grasp onto any excuse to get out of being a daddy to your daughter.
We are about to enter the domain of questionable romance, where these two's relationship was far from fairy tale. The drama involves several men, a girlfriend who can't be faithful, and a 3-year-old daughter who might not have a father. Trust me, it's a roller coaster.
Mr. Smith, you say the evidence points to several other men?
Yes,
Explain.
Yes, Your Honor. She is a sex addict and a compulsive liar. When I first met Janisha, we had sex on the first night. I took her virginity. A few hours later, she had sex with another man. So I could tell you multiple reasons why I believe I am not the father of her child.
Miss Jones, these are some very strong allegations about your sexual practices.
Yes.
Navigating the sea of contradictions, things were starting to get hard and confusing. With doubts flying here and there, Miss Jones started to tell her story about how Mr. Smith was the first man she had ever been with. But the story that was about to unfold was shocking.
We met at a party, went home with her, had sex with her. Then after that, we hooked up a couple more times. We was friends with benefits.
Oh, so you're saying the sex happened immediately?
Yes.
Oh, so you met at a party, had sex that night?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's not best friends, that's a booty call. So how did you even find out, or how do you know that Miss Jones was with other men?
She had a boyfriend.
In this tangled web of familial drama, reasons for betrayal emerge. Miss Jones had a boyfriend while she was intimate with Mr. Smith. As if that catastrophe wasn't enough, she had another guy she was also sleeping with. Wow, that's a lot, I tell you. That's a whole lot.
Did you have a boyfriend, Miss
No.
Jones? So you didn't have a boyfriend when you met him?
No.
Were you having sex with anybody else?
Yes.
Oh, you were?
This
Yes.
around the same time of conception.
No, Your
That's
Honor.
around the same time.
I was
So
having.
boyfriend or no boyfriend, I mean, sex is what makes babies. So if you were having
Yeah.
sex with somebody else during the window of time you were having sex with Mr. Smith, how do you
I was
ruled
having
the other
sex,
guy out.
I was having sex with this man in July.
As the air in the room starts to choke, more stories start to pop out. It was no longer a situation of trust because all trust had been washed down the drain. Mr. Jones had so much to spill, even a news outlet couldn't cover the entire story.
One day I went to go see Janesha at a motel room where she was there with multiple friends. I came up there. She wanted to go with me, but I had other ventures to go on to.
Ventures.
Yeah. So I called her later that night. It was a lonely night. I called her. I was like, do you want to lay up? She didn't answer the phone, though.
He was blowing me up, Your Honor.
A couple of days later, this all around time of conception. A couple of weeks later, she admitted to having getting oral sex from this guy.
At this point, the tension is unmatched. He finds out that the whole drama is being talked about in a group chat. Wait a minute, did he just say a group chat? I definitely don't want to be in his shoes right now.
The thing about this motel guy is a collage came out.
A collage?
Yes, with me, the baby, and this guy from the motel.
And you submitted that to the court? This
Yes,
collage. How did you find this collage?
This collage was in a group chat with her and her friend, her best friend. So when it came to me, her best friend admitted to me like, oh, no, I didn't make that.
Even with all that drama going on, Mr. Smith remained a good guy when she got pregnant. He was there during the birth and even went to pregnancy classes. Poor old Mr. Jones, getting played by his girl.
During the birth?
Okay, I was there at the birth. I was there at the birth of the baby.
Because when you got pregnant, Ms. Jones, you told Mr. Smith,
He
I'm
was
pregnant.
there the whole time. Appointments, we done went through pregnancy classes, everything. He knew the baby was his. He's just delusional.
The time she found out she was pregnant, I'm having problems with my ex-girlfriend. She just had a baby.
Now, Mr. Smith can't help but wonder who the real dad is. Could it be him, or could it be the guy from the motel? Well, the moment you've all been waiting for is finally here, and I can't wait to see the truth. Take a deep breath, people. Here it comes.
Mr. Smith, you are the father. That is your beautiful little girl.
Thank you, Your Honor.
How does that feel to hear?
It felt good.
Buckle up, buckaroos! Because today, we're diving deep into a roller coaster case between two jilted lovers. And oh boy, it's a wild ride! If you thought your family barbecues were dramatic, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So, Ms. Brewington, you claim you are 100% certain that Mr. Lee is the father, and can you tell me how you know?
Yes, Your Honor. I am without a doubt 100% certain that he is my son's father. Not only was I only sleeping with him, we were actually working on our relationship. We already have a child from a previous situation. We got back together. We're working on us.
First up, we had Miss Brewington giving her testimony. She was all confident, and she was ready to drop the bomb that Mr. Lee was the one and only daddy to her adorable 3-year-old son, Giovanni. She was 100% certain, folks. But why, you may ask? Because according to her, they weren't just sharing a roof, they were sharing a bed too. Talk about close quarters.
Were you living in the same house?
Around the time, yes.
But you weren't together.
Exactly.
So were you sharing a bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And fluids.
No.
Clearly, yes, clearly. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
No, ma'am.
I will say, although she did not say it as eloquently as I would have liked, you can still be sexually active with one another.
But wait! Mr. Lee had something to say about that. He outright denied that little Giovanni was his mini-me. His claim? They weren't even an item when Gio was conceived. Now, I'm no mathematician, but if you're living together and not cool at the moment, as Mr. Lee put it, things don't quite add up, do they? But here's where it got juicy. Miss Brewington said she was only intimate with Mr. Lee and that they were working on their relationship. But Mr. Lee wasn't having that. He was convinced he'd been played for a fool, just a wallet for child support. Drama alert.
Giovanni, was Mr. Lee present?
No, he was telling people I was just getting fat. He was like, she just eats a lot of fast food. Everybody was rubbing, my friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her, she's just fat. The entire time. I'm talking about, I'm going into labor. He's like, no, you're not.
What kind of denial is this?
The plot thickened when Miss Brewington revealed she found out she was pregnant while getting her birth control renewed. Surprise, surprise! But Mr. Lee, the skeptic, made her take not 1, not 2, but 3 pregnancy tests. And they all screamed positive. But Mr. Lee still wasn't buying it. He was convinced she'd just been packing on the pounds from fast food. Not cool, dude.
He named my son. He was like, no, I'm not letting you give my son no dumb name. I'm naming him. I actually told him I was like, you don't want to wait until we do a DNA test. I offered the DNA test in the hospital.
Say that, Your Honor. She did not say that.
But you signed the birth certificate, right?
Yes, I did.
If you had all this denial and you say she eating fast food
And this isn't even a pregnancy?
Fast forward to the birth of little Giovanni. Mr. Lee missed the main event, but swooped in just in time to sign the birth certificate and even name the baby. Hold up! If you're so sure he's not yours, why put pen to paper, Mr. Lee? Get this. He actually thought he could just erase his name later if a DNA test proved him right. Talk about wishful thinking. Now here's the kicker. Miss Brewington's so-called friend tells Mr. Lee he's not the father and that she knows who the real daddy is. But wait for it. Miss Brewington caught them in bed together. That's a backstabbing masterclass right there.
Being a father to Giovanni, like, do you step up for him?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're obviously responsible as it relates to child support because you signed the birth certificate.
I'm always there. I've never not been there.
You're the man he knows to be his dad.
father.
Yes, he calls me daddy.
Calls you daddy.
Yes, yes.
With all of that,
Yes.
you still don't believe he's your biological son.
No.
Mr. Lee was still standing his ground, though, even with a side-by-side baby photo comparison that Ms. Brewington swears shows they're literally 2 peas in a pod. But Mr. Lee wasn't seeing it, or to put it in his words, nah, it could be anyone's kid. Judge Lake then dropped the reality check. Being a father isn't about signing papers, it's about stepping up. And despite all the denial, Mr. Lee had already been playing the dad role to Giovanni, who even called him daddy.
I could only imagine if his soul and spirit could truly process the fact that the man that I look at and I say, Daddy, when I come running up, is standing in a courtroom right now, clowning my mother, but also denying me. And see, we have to think about that. It's not always jokes, and I always say that we don't clown in here because we're not running a circus.
With emotions running high and tension at its peak, Miss Brewington broke down, admitting she was hurt by all the denial and just wanted what was best for her son. It was clear she had a soft spot for Mr. Lee, despite all the name-calling.
I just had to say that because Giovanni deserves to know. And when it comes to his life and his paternity, he deserves there to be a level of respect, decorum surrounding this result, because whether it goes either way, this child still has to live with it.
Judge Lake laid down the law, reminding everyone that this wasn't a game. It was a little boy's life they were messing with. So she whipped out the DNA results, and at that point, you could have cut the tension with a knife. So was Mr. Lee the father, or had Miss Brewington been bluffing the whole time? It was time to find out if Giovanni's daddy drama would get a happy ending, or if the plot was about to take another twist.
Mr. Lee, you are not the father.
Told y'all.
Hold up.
I already knew it. I told you.
Don't look at me like that. I don't know God's plan.
Who else? It was you that was.
Did you just inject God in this?
I did not put him in this.
We've got another slam dunk for you, and this one is overflowing with drama. Ms. Valentine was fuming. She was dead set on proving that her adorable 3.5-month-old son, named after the basketball legend Michael Jordan, was indeed the biological offspring of Mr. Jordan, not that Mr. Jordan. Talk about a full court press.
So you moved on and began dating other men, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jordan, you claim you have always known you are not Michael's biological father after discovering a text message Ms. Valentine sent to another man. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ms. Valentine, tell the court, why did you open today's case?
Because I know 100% sure that Michael is the father of my baby.
But hold up! Mr. Jordan was playing defense like his namesake, totally denying the paternity claims. He threw a curveball, insisting that he wasn't the father based on some sneaky texts Miss Valentine sent to another dude.
It was the same night. Yeah. It was the same night. Like, I paid for his cab. I sure did. I paid for his cab to come over my house because it was gonna go on my terms. Like, I paid for it so he can come, and it was the very same night. Like I said, it was only supposed to be a one-night stand.
If she gonna do it for me,
but wait, now Miss Valentine, you wasn't paying for no taxi for no man you saw on a dating website to come to your house.
But we had protected sex, Your Honor.
Miss Valentine met Mr. Jordan on a dating app looking for a one-night stand. She said she likes her men with a dash of ugly, and apparently Mr. Jordan had just the right amount of dash because she swiped right, he swiped right, and bam, instant connection. We can't make this stuff up, folks. The same night they matched, she paid for his cab, and they had what was supposed to be a one-night stand. But as these things tend to go, one night turned into many, and eventually they were having unprotected sex. Classic move, right?
After that happened, we had unprotected sex that same night, and I did not talk to her no more for 2 weeks because of that.
Wait. You got into the sheets, you thought another man that just got out of?
It was on the counter. It was on the counter, Your Honor.
Why did I ask?
It was on the counter.
Why did I ask?
It was on the counter.
But here's where it gets spicy. Mr. Jordan tells the court he found another man in Miss Valentine's house, claiming he was just a babysitter. But the plot thickens when Mr. Jordan noticed the TV was on in her room with the bed sheets all messed up. Suspicious much? Despite all that, they still had unprotected sex that night. And as you'll see as we move on, complicated doesn't even begin to describe the relationship between these two.
You ain't never bought my kids a damn thing.
Oh, so all the restaurants we went to,
But
I took
anyway,
her and her
back
kids
to
out.
what he was saying.
Okay, one at a time. I'm
what
gonna
he
give
was
Miss
saying.
Valentine a chance to respond to your testimony.
Back to what
Mr.
he was
Jordan.
saying.
Okay.
So while I was living back in Chicago, yes, I had somebody that I was involved with previously. We were no longer involved for months at a time. Months. So yes, he came down because that's the only other man.
Fast forward, and Miss Valentine shows Mr. Jordan a positive pregnancy test. But Mr. Jordan was not buying it. He had his doubts, especially after his buddy Mr. Krebs testified that he saw multiple men coming in and out of Miss Valentine's place. And let's not forget the mysterious Pizza King, a guy Miss Valentine was supposedly texting about hooking up. Drama overload.
He's been in love with my son since he was born. And he has pictures of him everywhere, all over his social media. And he asks me for pictures of him all the time.
So why do you think he's denying him?
Because his friends. Because of his friends. He
have nothing to do with it.
Oh, you think people are getting in his ear and giving him reason to doubt the baby?
Now here's the kicker. Mr. Jordan was there for the baby's birth, cut the cord, and even signed the birth certificate. But he's still denying the baby? Something doesn't add up. Miss Valentine breaks down in tears, saying Mr. Jordan is denying their son in court just to hurt her. She insists he's been in love with the baby since day one and even flaunts him all over social media.
It's serious. You don't just get on the computer and decide, oh, I'm gonna have sex today, because it turns into this. And now we've got a little person. Look at this beautiful baby. I don't want him to grow up in this level of negativity and drama. Mr. Jordan, what are your intentions? If this baby is yours, do you plan to be a dad?
The tension in the courtroom could be cut with a knife as Judge Lake tries to get these two to see sense. She reminds them that their actions affect little Michael and that they need to get their act together for his sake. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the envelope with the DNA results is handed to Judge Lake. The courtroom is silent. Everyone's on the edge of their seats, and the future of this family hangs in the balance. Is Mr. Jordan the father of little Michael Jordan? Will Miss Valentine's claims be validated, or will Mr. Jordan's doubts be confirmed?
Mr. Jordan, you are the father. And he doesn't deserve this. This is messy.
We've got a juicy one today, folks. So grab your cup, because we've got some tea for you. We've got Miss Thomas and Mr. McKee, two lovebirds who met on an online dating site. But this ain't no fairy tale, folks. They went from flirty emojis to the real deal. And quicker than you can say swipe right. They were much more than just text buddies.
Miss Thomas, you and the defendant, Mr. McKee, met on an online dating website, and the conversation quickly jumped offline and into Mr. McKee's bed. You believed you were in a committed relationship with the defendant and was devastated when he denied your pregnancy. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Miss Thomas thought she was in a relationship, but Mr. McKee, he was just in it for the good times, if you catch my drift. And then boom, Miss Thomas drops the baby bomb. But instead of stepping up, Mr. McKee hit that block button faster than a scared kid playing Five Nights at Freddy's. That's right, he ghosted her when she needed him most.
So, Mr. McKee, she sent you a text with the picture of the baby. Your first response was what?
The baby look like he can be for Donald Trump.
Like, really? Really?
I didn't expect that one.
He thinks the color makes a difference. The color don't make a difference.
I think what you're saying is you thought the baby was biracial? That's what you meant.
Fast forward a few months, and there's a new kid on the block, baby Carson. Miss Thomas was convinced that Mr. McKee was the daddy, but he was over there shaking his head faster than a bobblehead on a bumpy road. He even says the kid looks like Donald Trump. I mean, what? That's some next level denial right there.
Kid's on the way right now?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Right.
With your spouse or your girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
Okay, so the children were planned? No. Okay.
You talk about me?
So you have twins
Really?
on the way?
No, not twin, but two different women.
You talk about me, though.
I just asked, were you having a baby with your girlfriend? They're both your girlfriend?
like two sisters.
But wait, because this roller coaster was just getting started. Mr. McKee's family was all sorts of confused about baby Carson. His mom was all in on her potential grandson, but his aunt was throwing shade like it was a sunny day at the beach. And if you thought this was a simple case of who's your daddy, think again. Mr. McKee's personal life was more tangled up than a box of old Christmas lights in July. He had not one, but two ladies expecting his babies, and they were sisters. We can't make this stuff up, people.
That's what the lady said in the store?
Said at the store.
Yeah.
She was ready to get mad, but you...
That's a thing. I have to do that every day.
You know.
Somebody like, is his mama white or is his daddy white?
So you all can't even enjoy these beautiful, precious moments, these beginnings with the child, because every time you're walking around with this beautiful baby, somebody looks at either one of you all and tries to discredit the fact that you could be the child's parent.
Right.
Apparently, everywhere Ms. Thomas goes with Carson, it's like a game show of guess the parent. She can't even buy a loaf of bread without someone questioning the baby's heritage. Talk about a tough crowd. And if ordinary life seemed like a daytime TV show, the court hearing was a big budget Hollywood movie. Ms. Thomas was pleading for Mr. McKee to be a part of Carson's life if he was the father. But Mr. McKee, he was just standing there like a guy on his porch waiting for his pizza to be delivered.
It's not funny, but I just literally am like, oh, because you're serious.
Yes, ma'am.
You ain't said this much all day. So the question of the day becomes, when are you gonna start wearing a condom? You can't go on like this, Mr. McKee. That's 3 paternity cases going on at one time. These are babies. These are babies.
Right.
These are people.
You could reach out and touch the tension in the courtroom. This case had gone from a cut and dry paternity case to being more complex than the plot of an M. Night Shyamalan film. Judge Lake is about to drop the bombshell, and you can practically hear hearts racing. So what's the verdict? Is Mr. McKee the father, or is Miss Thomas's baby daddy still a mystery?
Mr. McKee, you are not the father.
Are you serious?
He is not the father, Miss Thomas.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm sorry.
Buckle up, because today we're taking a trip into crazy town. And oh boy, do we have a doozy of an episode for you. It's the case of Marsh v. Reed, and it's jam-packed with twists, turns, and a whole lot of drama.
Ms. Marsh, you and your mom have demanded the defendant, Mr. Reed, appear in court today because you say he denies your 1-year-old daughter, Tamari, only when you deny his desire to have a relationship with you. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Reed, you claim that Miss Marsh has confessed to you that you may not be Tamari's biological father.
So we've got Miss Marsh, a young mom who's been chasing Mr. Reed since she was 18. And Mr. Reed, well, he's a 40-year-old guy with a questionable taste for girls who are young enough to be his daughters. And no, that's not all guys. Mr. Reed is the proud husband to multiple wives. Yep, you heard that right. He's out here trying to collect them all like they're Pokemon cards.
You say you don't believe Tamari, oh, she's so adorable, is your biological child. You don't believe that?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Where'd you meet?
We met in Columbus, Ohio, but I lived in California.
Okay.
I had just turned 18.
Okay, so you met in Columbus, Ohio?
Yes.
So you all started dating?
No. I flew back to California.
Miss Marsh is in court because she's got a 1-year-old daughter named Tamari, and she's certain Mr. Reed is the daddy. But get this, Mr. Reed only denies the baby when Miss Marsh denies his advances. Talk about a messy love triangle, or should we say love square, considering his multiple wives agenda?
Third or fourth birthday.
He did my daughter.
Your
my
whole
daughter's birthday.
The shopping,
Everything.
the birthday party,
Spent $1,000 on toys, and then spent another $1,000 on her birthday
what
party.
man does that?
Me?
So wait a minute. You threw a birthday party
I love
for
children.
her older child.
I love children, so I threw a birthday party for her oldest daughter, yes.
All right.
Mr. Reed, on the other hand, claimed that Miss Marsh was trying to trap him into a relationship. He was out here accusing her of using baby Tamari as bait. But wait, there's more! Mr. Reed also has a wild claim that Miss Marsh confessed he might not be the father. Drama alert! Now let's get into the meat of this soap opera. Miss Marsh spills the tea that Mr. Reed swooped into her life, acting like Prince Charming, throwing a $1,000 birthday party for her other kid. Who does that? Mr. Reed says he loves kids, which in all honesty raised more questions than answers.
In your mind, was this a relationship, or was
She knew I was dating other women.
I never knew he was dating other women. On Torrance's birthday, he asked me to go on a trip with him to a resort with his family. When we get to Missouri, 2 women pop up at the hotel room, and he said, "This is my wife."
Your Honor,
and I said, "It's over."
Your Honor, on the way to the
What?
Your Honor, on the way.
Hold on
now.
I told her I was taking her to meet my wife.
But hold on to your seats because the plot thickens. Miss Marsh testified about a trip to Missouri that quickly turned into a reality check. Just as they arrived, bam! 2 women show up and Mr. Reed introduces one of them as his wife. That wasn't a vacation. It was an episode of Twilight Zone. And just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, it does. Miss Marsh found out about yet another wife during a traffic stop. This man wasn't just playing a game, he was playing the whole league.
So what happened when you found out you were pregnant? Tell the court.
So I found out I was pregnant. I called Mr. Reed because I felt sick. So we went to the store, got a whole bunch of pregnancy tests. Then we went to the pregnancy center. We got an ultrasound. And then later on, he had left to go console a girl in California that was having a miscarriage.
You knew this?
I knew afterwards.
She knew this young lady was down there.
And just like that, Miss Marsh was pregnant. But when she told Mr. Reed, he was off consoling another woman in California who was having a miscarriage. Seriously, this guy's love life was so complicated, he probably kept track of all his flings with spreadsheets.
So what is your doubt exactly? Because you have not testified.
Because every time she get angry with me, the first thing she do is say, "You're not the father. This other gentleman is the father that she was sleeping with." That's my doubt.
Miss Marsh, when you're angry with him, do you tell him this is not his baby?
Because he's always trying to do something.
But that's yes.
Question.
But that is yes.
And it only happened once that I told him
3
that.
times.
It
You
never
just told me
happened
this
3
last
times.
time.
Despite all the chaos, Mr. Reed ends up playing house with Miss Marsh for 7 months. He's there, acting like daddy of the year to little Tamari. But when push comes to shove, he's got doubts. And why? Because every time they fight, Miss Marsh hits him with the "you're not the father" line. Ouch.
Why would you go stay over there 7 months and you didn't know?
Because I was trying to do the right thing.
But if you really believe somebody's trying to trap you, you don't walk right on up into the trap.
Exactly.
Really?
So now, Miss Marsh, what if for some reason he is not Tamari's biological father?
It would hurt, but I know that's his daughter. Like, my baby she's light-skinned, but she looked just like him.
Judge Lake is trying to make sense of this hot mess, and she's not letting Mr. Reed off easy. She calls him out on his shenanigans, and let me tell you, it's better than a halftime show. So, we've got the DNA results in hand, and the tension is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Will Mr. Reed be the father? Will Miss Marsh have to keep looking for Tamari's baby daddy? The courtroom is on the edge of their seats, and so are we.
Mr. Reed, you are not the father.
Well, now I feel like the goofy. I done flew all the way down here to look like a goofy.
So we've got this guy, Mr. Rogers, right? He's got not 1, but 2 wives. Yep, you heard that right. 2 wives. And as if that's not spicy enough, they all live together and share the same bed. Talk about a full house. They're all in paternity court today, so clearly something must have gone wrong.
Miss Campbell, you're here desperate to learn if the man you're in love with is indeed your 3-week-old daughter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Rogers, you're a married man, and although you have reason to doubt, you say it would break your heart if you found out today that you're not Anna.
But here's where things get nuts. One of his wives, Miss Campbell, is in court to find out if Mr. Rogers is the father of her 3-week-old daughter, Anna Gale. And Mr. Rogers, oh boy, he's a married man who's got a heart of gold. It would crush him if he found out he's not the daddy.
And we met Gracie where we worked at, and they kind of hit it off together. She brought Gracie into the relationship just for herself. I knew she liked women, so I kind of just let her go ahead.
Okay, and how did it progress?
I let them, have their relationship. I got brought into it about a year later. Gracie wanted to have children. She said she was getting to the age where she wanted to have kids. So Angela told her, she said, the only way you can have children is if Thomas is the father. I agreed, and that's how our relationship started out.
Now hold on to your seats because this roller coaster is only going up. Miss Campbell and the other wife, Angela, went to a swingers club in Phoenix. And nope, they weren't just there to dance. They ended up getting cozy with another guy without protection. The audience was gasping, and so were we.
The relationship, he's a man and he wanted it just as much as me.
All right, so let's get to the doubt surrounding baby Anna Gale. Why does the doubt exist? You are in a polyamorous relationship, so that means you expect that both of these women would only be sleeping with you.
That was the...
Mr. Rogers had no clue about any of this. He thought they were just picking up Gracie's mom. Can you imagine? He's at home thinking everything's peachy and his wives were out there making their own rules. But wait, there's more. Miss Campbell admits to getting too drunk and making a huge mistake. She's sorry, but sorry doesn't cut it in paternity court, folks. And Angela, oh, she tries to put the blame on Gracie for leaving her phone open. That's how Mr. Rogers found out about the whole deal. Talk about a plot twist.
You really didn't see this coming?
No, I didn't. I didn't see any of this coming. I thought we had a good relationship. You know, me and Gracie, we have a son together, a 2-year-old son. You know, she wanted another child. And I thought that's what we was, you know, what we were gonna have together. And for all this to happen, I don't know what's gonna happen now.
So as you look at baby Annagale, do you feel like she's yours?
I want her to be mine.
Mr. Rogers' teenage son, Austin, who's got his own paternity drama, is brought into the courtroom. Turns out Austin has Crohn's disease, which is usually hereditary, but nobody in their family has it. So just like that, his paternity was in question too. Double whammy! Judge Lake wants to deal with Austin's case separately, so she decides to conclude Annagale's case first.
But it wasn't like the situation with Gracie. I went to him, told him I was pregnant. I told him what I'd done immediately.
Come on up, young man. Have a seat right next to me here in the witness stand. Austin.
The court's got all the evidence, including photos of baby Annagale's eyes that look just like Mr. Rogers. Miss Campbell is holding on to hope that he's the father. And Mr. Rogers, bless his soul, has been playing dad to this little girl, regardless of the swinging shenanigans. But folks, the moment of truth arrives. The results are in for baby Annagale. The courtroom is silent, and everyone's on the edge of their seats.
In the case of Rogers versus Campbell Rogers pertaining to 3-week-old Annagale Rogers. Mr. Rogers, you are her father.
Remember Austin? It's his turn now. He's been raised by Mr. Rogers, thinking he's his real dad for 18 years. The drama that these two women have brought into the courtroom is wild. But it's all about to come to an end because the results are in. The bailiff hands over the envelope to the judge, and everyone is holding their breath.
You are his father.
We've got Mr. Thomas Rogers, who's in the middle of a huge paternity mess. He's married to Alexis Rogers, who, get this, admits to having an affair. That's right, folks. She went to a party, had a few too many drinks, and ended up in bed with another guy while her husband was at a funeral. Talk about bad timing!
Another man besides your husband fathered your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Rogers is here along with your mother-in-law seeking the results of a paternity test. Now, Mrs. Angela Rogers, you claim your son's wife cannot be trusted, and you want her to come clean about her real motives for being here. You believe the plaintiff is only after your son's military benefits.
Yes.
But wait, it gets even more complicated. Alexis ended up pregnant, and guess who signed the birth certificate? Yep, Thomas did, even though he knew there was a chance he might not be the father. Now, why would he do that? Well, Thomas wanted to believe little Coda was his and wanted that picture-perfect family life. Can you blame him?
Okay, let's go back. She has a baby. Okay, she gets pregnant. She has a baby. She makes him sign this birth certificate even though she don't even know if it's his or not.
I didn't make him do anything.
Mom, you have this birth certificate. This is your son's signature.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome, will you please hand that to me, please? So you had the baby, Ms. Rogers, and you weren't certain
who the father was.
No, ma'am.
However,
Now enter the mother-in-law, Angela Rogers, who's convinced that Alexis is only after her son's military benefits. Ouch! That's one hell of an accusation. Angela is not holding back, guys. She's throwing shade left and right, saying Alexis is using the baby as a weapon. Drama alert.
my problem is
The whole
I
time.
think she's just disrespectful in a way that she needs to be more respectful. Like the whole funeral thing. Okay, I got it that she thinks his family didn't like her. But she should have been there anyways, not for his family.
The tension in the courtroom is through the roof. Alexis and Angela are at each other's throats, and poor Thomas is caught in the middle. He's about to be deployed, and he's worried sick about leaving behind a family that's hanging by a thread.
She answers. And I'll say,
Because
can
he's
I
in
talk?
the shower, or he's
in the
sleeping, or
bathroom.
whatever.
What's wrong with that? But she'll say, I'll have him to call you back. Months later, I still ain't got a call back.
If you're the mother that I believe you've been, seems like he should be calling you anyway to check on you.
She doesn't want him to. That's the problem.
Angela is worried too, but not just about her son going off to war. She's terrified that if something happens to him, she'll never see her grandson again because of the bad blood between her and Alexis. It's a real fear, and you can see the pain in her eyes. But here's the kicker. Alexis and Angela can't even agree on who little Coda looks like. People are saying the baby looks just like Alexis and her side of the family, and nobody's even asking if Thomas is the dad. That's gotta hurt.
Why couldn't the baby stay with his grandmother?
Well, you know, I just look at it this way. If, you know, she couldn't have enough mind to separate us two from arguing in front of him.
But I did separate you two, and then your dad come up and started acting like a crazy fool.
Yeah, because he had saw how things went down.
Let's get some order. This is important.
Thomas is heartbroken over the whole situation. He's standing there saying he sees himself in Coda and that he feels like he's the father, but the doubt is eating him alive. He's desperate to know the truth before he leaves for deployment. He needs something to fight for, and you can tell he's hoping Coda is his son.
Floyd. And let me first say we appreciate your service.
Thank you.
And let me further say, I understand now why you're saying when you go, you're feeling very overwhelmed about what you'll be leaving behind. The uncertainty, not knowing if Coda is your child biologically, but also leaving behind your mother and your wife who can't seem to say two words to one another without it going to level 10.
The courtroom is a battlefield of emotions. Alexis is in tears, saying she just wants everything to be normal and to feel wanted by her husband. And Thomas? He's just trying to hold it all together, saying he's done everything for Alexis and doesn't feel appreciated.
I want to know that she is going to let them see him and that it's not just going to be her family.
So one of your fears and one of the main reasons you're here today is because you're fearful that if something happens to you, God forbid, you would have never known if...
And then, just when you think it can't get any more heated, Angela brings up how frustrated she is about her fractured relationship with Alexis. The accusations had been flying since the case started, and it was now time to cue the waterworks. Everyone was crying, and emotions were high.
To leave here today knowing that me and her can sit down and stop this because we've got that beautiful baby there that deserves all the love he can get, and he deserves all of us, not just some of us in his life.
I haven't kept you from him yet.
This case has it all: betrayal, fear, love, and a desperate need for closure. Will Thomas go off to war knowing Coda is his son? Will Alexis and Angela ever bury the hatchet? And most importantly, will this family find peace before Thomas's deployment? We're on the edge of our seats here, and you probably are too. The results are in, and the truth is about to be revealed.
Mr. Rogers, you are his father.
The drama in this next case was off the charts. This was a showdown between Miss Jackson, the wife, and Miss Lipscomb, the so-called mistress, with Mr. Jackson caught in the middle like a deer in headlights. So buckle up, because we're about to spill all the tea.
Miss Jackson, you say you're here to confront your husband's mistress and to prove her 1-month-old daughter, Kiesha, is not his biological daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Furthermore, you say if you learn today that the child is in fact your husband's, your marriage is over.
That's right, Your Honor.
Miss Lipscomb, you say that you have no doubt your child is her husband's daughter. You claim he had sex with you, made a baby, and now she needs to deal with the truth.
That's right, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson is waiting outside of the courtroom and will meet.
And Miss Jackson marched into court ready to confront her husband's side chick, Miss Lipscomb. She was there to prove that the 1-month-old baby girl, Kiesha, was not her hubby's kid. And she was dead serious about it, saying if the child was his, their marriage was toast. On the flip side, Miss Lipscomb claimed that her baby was definitely Mr. Jackson's. All she wanted to do was make Miss Jackson deal with the truth.
How did you find out your husband may be having a child with his mistress?
Your Honor, let's talk about that. I got an epiphany, call it woman's intuition, whatever you want. Well, I went to my husband's job. It was about 9:30 or 10:30 at night, and
Now let's rewind to how this all started. Miss Jackson had a hunch something fishy was going on and decided to confront her husband at his job. And guess who popped up like a jack-in-the-box? Miss Lipscomb, in her car, eavesdropping on their
talking, we're in the front of the building, and the defendant pops up in the car like she's Ricky Raccoon or somebody, Your Honor. Upon hearing my voice, I turned around and I went and knocked on the window. I asked her if she knew my husband. I called him by name. She said she did. She introduced herself as his girlfriend. I said, well, hi, girlfriend, because I'm his wife. Like.
Miss Lipscomb wasn't fazed, though. She claimed Mr. Jackson told her his wedding band was from a previous marriage. Men can lie. Come on, who buys that? Miss Jackson sure didn't, and neither do we.
Wow. Okay.
So it didn't dawn on me to ask, are you married now? Because if you're married now, why have you been living in a room for 3 to 4 months? And I have a key to your room.
3 to 4
I got clothes in your room. I'm at your room
She
every
had a
day,
pair of
every
panties,
night.
Your Honor,
I'm
in
at
his
your room
room.
every
A
day,
pair
every
of
night. I've
panties,
never
Your
seen
Honor.
this woman.
Now here's where it gets juicy. Miss Jackson revealed that she actually bought stuff for the baby, over $900 worth. She did it out of the kindness of her heart, even though she thought Miss Lipscomb had moved on from her husband. But wait for it. Miss Lipscomb then admits she's still seeing Mr. Jackson. Yikes!
My husband went to jail that night, Your Honor. He and
You sent them to jail
I was
over
angry
bogus.
enough.
He called
Your
the police
Honor,
and said
I was
that he jumped
angry
on her.
enough.
He sent them to jail.
To send
made
him to
lose his
jail, Your
job in
Honor.
his
It was an
room.
impulsive decision, and I understand it was not the right decision, Your Honor. But yes, I sent him to jail because I knew that.
Mr. Jackson finally joined the circus, and he was as helpful as a screen door in a submarine. He confirmed he never told Miss Lipscomb that he was married. And guess what? He even signed the baby's birth certificate, making him the legal father. But when asked if he was paying child support, he was as silent as a mime.
And I'm being generous with my language. I don't know if you all think you scoring points or impressing anybody with this tit-for-tat nonsense.
Ladies and gents, the plot thickens. Miss Jackson dropped a bombshell. She's pregnant again with Mr. Jackson's baby. And Mr. Jackson, he couldn't even decide which woman he'd stand next to. He chose to stand in the middle like that would solve anything.
Way before then.
Are you gonna raise this baby? What?
It's like you say,
I'm not your wife. I want an answer.
It's like you say.
Are you gonna raise the baby? You're not gonna raise this baby.
The courtroom was a battleground, with Miss Jackson and Miss Lipscomb trading insults like Pokemon cards. But Judge Lake wasn't having any of it. She called them out for their silliness, and Mr. Jackson for his lack of action.
Mr. Jackson. You are not the father.
Thank you.
Now hold on to your hats because it's time for the results. Drum roll, please. Was Mr. Jackson the father of little Keasia? You could cut the tension with a knife, and it was time for Judge Lake to reveal the DNA test results.
Mr. Jackson. You are not the father.
Thank you.
Miss Knox was out to prove that Mr. Bailey was the father of her 1-year-old son, Cash. She also wanted some cash, $3,480 to be exact, for child-rearing expenses. But Mr. Bailey and his mom were not having it. They were convinced Miss Knox just wanted to cash in on Mr. Bailey's rising fame as a dancer. Yes, you heard that right. We're dancing straight into this one.
Ms. Knox, you are seeking a DNA test to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Bailey, that he is the father of your 1-year-old son, Cash. You claim the only reason he's denying your son is because of his meddling mother, not...
The tension was high from the get-go. Miss Knox started off by saying she'd been taking care of Cash all by herself for a whole year, paying for everything. Diapers, car seats, you name it. Meanwhile, Miss Bailey was quick to jump in, accusing Miss Knox of wanting to play the money game because her son was about to hit it big. I mean, can you imagine? Your baby's daddy is about to become a dance star and you're left holding the diapers.
Also suing for child rearing expenses in the sum of $3,480. Is that correct? Ms. Bailey, you claim your son is a famous dancer and is about to hit it big. Both of you claim...
But wait, it gets better! Miss Knox claimed that Mr. Bailey didn't help at all, not even in the hospital. But Mr. Bailey wasn't silent. Oh no! He claimed he paid for the baby's circumcision. That's right, folks, $200 out of his pocket for little Cash's big snip-snip.
That I've had my child, I had to struggle to take care of him alone. I paid for everything.
That's because you wanted to, little girl.
That's because
no, ma'am.
No,
ma'am.
I paid for everything because he quit his job, and in June of 2014.
The back and forth was wild. Accusations were flying like crazy. Miss Knox said Mr. Bailey quit his job and didn't pay for anything. But Mr. Bailey's mom, oh, she was on fire! She kept insisting that Miss Knox was after fame and fortune. She even suggested Miss Knox was already pregnant before meeting her son.
Yes, I do have
that will substantiate
all the stuff that I had bought for my child.
Jerome, may I see those, please?
I had to buy wipes, car seats, strollers. I had to buy everything. I haven't seen anything from it, Mr. Bailey.
So these are receipts for...
And then the plot twist. Mr. Bailey found some suspicious text messages on Miss Knox's phone. Text to another guy just minutes apart from his own. It was like a race. Who would get to Miss Knox first? It was a soap opera in the making.
Car seat, swing, baby expenses. They total $6,960.
Yes, ma'am.
Half of which is $3,480, which you say he would be responsible.
But Miss Bailey, oh, she had her own theories. She was convinced Miss Knox was already showing a baby bump when she first met her. She even brought out a timeline board to the court to prove her point. Talk about prepared.
Kiana?
I started doubting when I started seeing her actions, like who does that? Around the time I had first went Gala, right? I'm not no phone checking type person, that's not my style, okay? But I just so happened to go through her phone.
The drama didn't stop there. Miss Knox claimed she didn't want to put Mr. Bailey on child support because, let's face it, he wasn't exactly rolling in dough. But then she changed her mind because Mr. Bailey wasn't stepping up. And Mr. Bailey? He thought Miss Knox was playing games, even tweeting about keeping receipts for court. Who does that? Mr. Bailey does, apparently. And oh boy, the courtroom was chaos. Everyone was arguing, and the judge had to slam that gavel down to get some order. It was like watching a game of ping pong, but instead of a ball, they were using their words.
A letter in the mail that
Correct.
says that you were going to be taken off child support.
No, my case would no longer be pursued. I didn't even know.
So when you got that letter,
the only way they would close your.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, Mr. Bailey dropped another bomb. he received a letter saying the child support case against him was no longer being pursued. What? Miss Knox explained she didn't want to go through with it because she didn't want to wait on a check from a guy who didn't have a job. But then she flipped the script again and put him back on child support.
Mr. Bailey, you are Cash's father.
The judge laid down the law, telling them that Mr. Bailey's right to see his child was separate from his financial obligations. That's right, folks. You gotta pay up, but you also gotta show up. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the DNA results.
Mr. Bailey, you are Cash's father.